The acquisition of a spell's basic power is rooted in 4 simple rules. These are the 4 cornerstones of all magic. That's what we're talking about today in this video. Hi, I'm Tanya. I'm coming out of Aradia's closet to help you create, cultivate, and live a more magical life. The 4 rules or cornerstones of magic are a virulent imagination, a will of fire, rock-hard faith, and a flair for secrecy. A virulent imagination is the ability to conjure up in your mind sights and scenes to delight the fancy and entertain the senses. It's the tool of artists and inventors. So I invite you to nurture your fantasies and your imagination. The more emotion that you can conjure up, the more power you have to affect your charms. The second rule is a will of fire, and that's the will of a stubborn child who says, I'm not going to take no for an answer. The will is the lens through which you focus your virulent imagination. So when you go into practice your spell working, you want to use that will that I have the ability to affect change. I have the ability to cause change to occur in conformity with my will. That imagination filtered through that will of fire. The third rule is rock-hard faith. That's the faith in your ability to cause the bendable world to bend to your will. So a couple of things to help nurture your will here. One, don't cast spells that you yourself believe is not going to happen. That's no faith at all. And that's going to chisel away at what faith you do have when you cast these impossible spells that don't come to fruition. Likewise, being a person of your word is very important. Something as simple as saying you're going to make it to a party and then you don't go. Well, then that's chiseling away at your faith in yourself because already you've said something that didn't come to fruition. I used to have a friend that was so into not breaking his word that, say, he was at the mall and said he was going to go to a particular store. If he's there and decides that he doesn't want to go to that store for whatever reason, he'll still walk down to the store, step in, and then walk out before leaving the mall because he was a person of his word. That might be a little extreme, but you get the case in point. You don't want to say things that you may not make happen because you'll carry that faith in yourself into your spell working. This may or may not work. It may or may not come around. So you want to have that rock hard faith that you can and will make something happen. The fourth rule is a flair for secrecy. There's a saying, where thoughts go, energy flows. So if you're casting a spell for love, money, whatever it may be, and you start to talk about it, first of all, that possibly could chip away at your faith because as soon as you say you're going to do it, you might, to someone else, you might start second guessing yourself. Also, like I said, where thoughts go, energy flows. And we are all connected. So if you tell someone that you're doing a particular spell, then their thought energy is flowing into that spell also. This is one of the things when working with a magical partner. You have to have someone of the same caliber as you because their energy is going into the making of that spell. And even if, like I said, even if someone's not part of that spell, you just tell them about it. They start to doubt you because they don't believe in magic, they don't believe in witchcraft or whatever, or they don't believe in your ability, and it starts to send that energy in. So a flair for secrecy, 1, so you don't start doubting yourself, and 2, so that other people's energy don't influence the outcome of that spell. Simple enough, right? If you want to read more on the 4 cornerstones of magic, I suggest to pick up a copy of Paul Hewson's Mastering Witchcraft. It was a book written in 1970. It was a go-to and part of the occult explosion back in that decade. Well worth reading. A few things I suggest to take with a grain of salt because you have to remember the mindset of people about magic and New Agey type stuff back in the 1970s. But it's a really good book, and if you want to pick up a copy, I will post a link in the description below. Thanks for joining me today. If you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And remember, the hardest part is getting started.